Okay, you guys, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about your test that's coming up. So, the assignment for today is to do the Unit 3 review. Make sure you go to Assignments on Canvas and you choose the one that's specifically titled Unit 3 Review, and it's due on Friday. And it looks something like this. So this is going to be kind of like what we did on the last review, except on the last review, I gave you a couple questions and then I told you, hey, go back into your homework and look for some problems and write those problems down, like for extra review. So now all I'm doing is giving you an overall outline. And so on part A, when it says section 3.1, write two equations of highest difficulty from section 3.1. So you're going to go back to your 3.1 homework and look in those problems. And this is kind of specifically from the first page, whereas part B, solving formulas, this is kind of from the second page of that homework. And notice it says of highest difficulty. Now, yeah, you can make this review much easier on you if you look at 3.1 and you say, oh, the highest difficulty I saw, no, I'm just making this up, and you say, maybe the highest difficulty I saw was 3x plus 1 equals 10. Okay, we all know that's not high difficulty, but if that's what you choose to put down here, okay, fine. Then go ahead and finish solving it. So you're going to end up with 3x equals 9, divide by 3x equals 3. So when I say go and find one of those problems, I also want you to solve it. But if that's what you find, then that's what you're practicing. You're practicing the easiest ones. And do you really think that on the test, that's going to be the problem I'm going to put on there? No. I'm probably not even going to put that difficulty level on my Algebra 1 test. So go in and find the ones that are medium to high difficulty because those are the ones you need to practice. All right, so this takes you through section 3.1. Whoops, sorry about that. Takes you through section 3.1. Hold on here. There we go. And then it says to go and find a system of two variables, right? That's section 3.2. Notice there's one question here talking about the graphing method. That would be the least emphasized on the test. Because remember, the reason that the graphing method is not very useful is because sometimes it's hard to tell what that point of intersection was. And then it says make sure you find one that uses the substitution method and make sure you find one that uses the elimination method. Make sure you're going to your homework and you're picking problems that had some work required and that also have an answer so that you have an answer to check it with, because what's the point of practicing it here if you don't know that you're getting it right? And then something that I'll tell you about the test, the way I'm gonna put it on the test is I'm gonna say, here are two problems that you have to solve the system of two equations. And I'm gonna say, one of them you have to use substitution and one of them you have to use elimination. I don't care which method you choose on which, as long as you use one method on one of them and the other method on the other. So you can kind of look at those problems and be smart about it. Think about which one is the smartest one to do elimination versus which one is the smartest one to do substitution. Okay, so that's how that's going to show up on the test. I'm not really worried about that. From what I can tell, you guys did pretty good on the systems of two equations. And then here's 3.3, right? You're going to go in and find the systems of three variables. Again, go to your homework, find ones that you have answers for so that you can just put down the problem. And again, my suggestion is write down the problem, write down your three equations. Don't look at the work in the homework. You do all the work here, get your answer, and then compare that answer with what you had in the homework to see if you get the right answer. If you don't, I guess you could go back and see if you see your mistake, but if I were you, instead of going back to try and find the mistake, I think I would just kind of start from the beginning and try not to remember, all the steps you did and just kind of go through that way and see if you can get to the correct answer. Okay, so then you're practicing your 3.3. And then notice this last page. So this isn't you coming up with specific questions. This is, it says write out the basic calculator keystrokes for each of the following. So this is just kind of like almost like a cheat sheet. So like if you see the phrase point of intersection, what are you going to do on your calculator? Well, for point of intersection, isn't that where you have to do second trace, and I want to say that's number 5. I mean, if on your calculator, let's see, if I do second trace, and then doesn't number 5 say point of intersection? And so that's where you could then, you know, put the cursor on your point of intersection, do the whole enter, enter, enter. Now, I would still, you know, find one from your homework and actually practice it as a part of your studying. But all I'm really looking for here is what are those kind of main keystrokes that are going to remind you, hey, how do you do point of intersection maybe different from finding zeros or different from, you know, solving systems. Remember, on solving systems, that's where you're going to go into the matrix menu. I'm just going to write here, matrix menu. And I would maybe go back and look at the video that I posted that talks about how to use your calculator to solve a system of 3 equations. That'll kind of help you with some basic keystrokes there. I think this will probably be the one thing that people take for granted on the test, because it's kind of like you watch me do it, you know how to do it on the calculator, but then if you don't ever kind of do it by yourself and check and make sure you get the right answer, you might forget some of the keystrokes. And remember, what I tend to have is when I give this test, people tend to come up to me and say, oh, I forgot how to do point of intersection. Can you just tell me what to press? Well, that's what I'm testing. I'm not testing what's the correct answer. I'm testing, do you know how to do this on your calculator? And as you know, if I were there, I'm not going to help you, and the sub's not going to help you, you know, tell you what to do on these either. So okay, that's what to do. So you're going to do that, and you're going to submit it. However, does this mean you are really prepared for the test? Well, kind of. I mean, this gives you kind of a basic intro to the test. But if you're really thinking, hey, I want to max out this test grade, you know, I really want to kind of make sure I'm not going to make little mistakes, that kind of thing, my suggestion for you is I would go back to your notes, your notebook, right, where you have all of your notes. And remember, in there, we tend to write out kind of the steps, but then we do a bunch of examples, especially in Unit 3. It was the majority of Unit 3 notes was just us doing examples. And this is a perfect place to find practice problems because I did these with you. And not only do you have all the steps there, but you also have the correct answers. So what I would do is come back to these notes problems and kind of look and say, maybe down here, maybe when you look at this one, at this problem, you know, and look at the original problem. So maybe you pick this last problem down here, and what I would do is, you know, take that equation, write it on a separate sheet of paper, don't look at the work, and then do the work, and then come back and check the answer. And if our answers don't agree, then look at the work and see if you can figure out what you did wrong. But to me, this is going to be the best way to study. Go back through these examples here, and you can determine how many you do based on whatever time you have or how much practice you think you need. Anything that you look at and you're like, oh, I'm not sure what I would do, make sure you practice it. And I would go through all sections and do that. So in that vein, because I'm feeling more helpful than usual since I'm not there with you, what I have done for you, and this is completely optional for you, what I have done for you is under Unit 3 on Canvas, if you go to that page where it says Unit 3 Review, which I know you're already there because that's where you accessed this video, notice below the video there's this document that says Unit 3 Extra Review Notes Examples. I have it in, I think I have it in assignments also, but you can just access it right here. And so what I did for you, I'm trying to get it to download so I can kind of show you. What I did for you is I went to the blank set of notes and I just copied all of the examples from the notes. So like you can see, this is page 43 of the notes. And this is all the examples on page 44 of the notes. And this is all the examples on page 46 where you're getting into 3.2, more 3.2. And then these are the examples from 3.3. Remember, this is from notes. This is not from homework. And so basically I brought in all of those examples that we did in the notes and on a blank page, so that maybe you want to use this, maybe even use this like a practice test. And then that way, once you do this, you can go back and you know you have the answers, because all you have to do is look in the notes. So anyway, you don't have to do that. You can do some of it, you can do all of it, you can do none of it. I'm just saying, if you find that you struggle with this test, first thing I'm going to say is, well, how many of those extra problems did you do? And that's the first thing I'm going to kind of go back and look at with you and say, all right, well, maybe what should you have done? So hopefully that kind of helps out. One last thing that I'll mention to you guys is, so you know your, let's see, A day. So first period, your test is going to be on Friday. And B day, seventh period, you know your test is going to be on Monday. Again, I told you guys this before. I want to reiterate. Remember, I am available to you guys. I spent most of the morning this morning going through questions with my calculus class because they had a test today. But I want to make sure and show you on Canvas. See how on the home page on Canvas at the top, kind of in pink, it says Zoom meeting information. So if you click on that, it gives you the link for how you can open up Zoom, meet with me. We can talk. I can go through any kind of examples that you might want to do. So just let me know. I'm very available. If it's the afternoon, evening, morning, whatever, just let me know, and I will get on and we can make arrangements to work together. It could be a group of you guys that want to meet. It could be just one-on-one, whatever you need. Okay? So please take advantage of that. Let me help you. All right, good luck on your test, and I hope to see you soon.